Welcome back to the channel. Today we got 11 uniquely British things you'll only find in the UK. So we're going to get right to it. With that being said, we're smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking. Original link in the description. If I didn't say that already, let's do it. Here we go.
And it's me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alana and I'm a Canadian.
Oh yeah, and shout out to Adventures and let's see, Adventures and Naps. I like that name.
But I have been living here in the UK for the last 7 years, and let me tell you, I've seen some weird stuff. The UK is full of things that are weird and wonderful, and I absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's go. Maybe saying I love it is maybe not the right choice of words, because the first thing we have to talk about is Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby, for the uninitiated, the only way that I can describe it is basically like a drug-fueled nightmare that just never ends. You wake up and yet it's still there. I think such a weird, can I say weird? I'm gonna say, this deserves to be weird. It is such a weird, like, pop culture icon that I think it's safe to say it's very divisive. You either despise Mr. Blobby, you don't get it, you wish it would end, or you think it's hilarious. I feel like that's it. You gotta be on one side or the other. And honestly, every time I have seen Mr. Blobby, it has been against my will. I don't get it. Quite frankly,
In America, we got Barney, so I'm honestly I'm not judging.
just don't get it. But on one hand, like I kind of, I don't want to say appreciate. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I love that the UK is full of just strange things. Now that doesn't mean you're gonna like them all, because I don't like Mr. Blobby. I don't get it. But I love that the UK is so unique. It's so unique, and I never want to see Mr. Blobby in person because I think I would simply pass away. But I appreciate that the UK has a very weird sense of humor, and you're never gonna see something like this anywhere else. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Do you love Mr. Blobby or do you hate him? I feel like more people are gonna hate him, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Another thing that you will only see in the UK, and I absolutely love this, and it's about biscuits, but actually court and biscuits. Biscuits in court, or is it cake? Now, I didn't know when I came to the UK about Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cake. Jaffa. Also, did you know Jaffa cakes were introduced in the UK in 1927? Damn. Now, basically, in the UK, if you sell a chocolate-covered biscuit, you have to pay tax on said biscuit, but not cakes. So Jaffa cake. Is it a cake? Is it a biscuit? If it is a chocolate-covered biscuit, they would have to pay tax. If it is a chocolate-covered cake, they would not have to pay tax. And so they went to court, which I just absolutely love. Can you imagine like an episode of The Good Wife, but it's Jaffa cakes? So McVitie's defended their case that no, we're not a biscuit, we're a cake, all right? And here's why. And the court actually sided with them. And that even though Jaffa cake has characteristics of both a biscuit and a cake, they would be considered a cake and avoid the tax. This whole story it just makes me laugh. It's so British and I love it. But unfortunately, I hate Jaffa cakes. I think they're gross. Another thing that you will only see in the UK has to do with TV, and perhaps that it is not free. So something that I learned very early on here in the UK is that you cannot watch TV for free. And I was very surprised. As a Canadian, I have never heard of a TV license before. That was a new one for me. Also,
That actually just blew my mind away. A TV license.
we talk about the letters that you get? So most people who watch my videos are British. You will know what the TV license is. For the like 5% of people who don't, basically you have to pay for a license to watch live TV or like anything BBC related. So you don't have to pay a license to watch things like YouTube, but if you were watching like a live event on YouTube, technically that would fall under a license from what I understand. If you want to watch the BBC iPlayer, you have to have a license. You want to watch classic TV, you know, scrolling through the channels, you have to have a TV license. And with that, they send some wildly threatening letters. So I remember it typically happens like when you move house. So I have lived in a whole bunch of homes and flats here in Kent over the last 7 years. And it oftentimes will happen, you like move into a new property and you get a threatening letter and they're like, hey, we know that you're watching live TV and you don't have a license and we're gonna take you to court. Or it might say something like, we have begun formal like prosecution of you because we know you're watching TV without a license. It is really scary. And I realized that the money then goes towards the BBC, which, you know, is it a well-loved institution still? Is that true to say? So the money does go to the BBC and it does go towards, you know, media and that kind of stuff. But yeah, never seen anything like a TV license before. If you're watching from another country, do you have a license?
I see you watching my YouTube content, so I know.
No, I don't. I don't have a license for that at all.
Because I've never heard of it. While I was brainstorming things that you will only see in the UK, of course I thought, you know what? We gotta talk about this. This beautiful abomination. So this, of course, is a Wigan Kebab. I'm so sorry, the pronunciation on that really sucks, doesn't it?
No, it sounds like a spell from Harry Potter.
There's nothing I can
Wigan
do
Kebab.
about my voice. So this is a pie, little pie inside of a buttered roll. So normally, you know, you might eat the little meat pie. Delicious. Would love one, thank you. And Wigan said, you know what? Let's butter a roll and put it on either side. Some people may call this a pie barm. The pronunciation on that was pretty messed up, wasn't it? Listening to me speak is probably really annoying, isn't it? I have never seen anything like this. Not even close. The only thing that comes to mind is a chip butty, which is a sandwich made with fries inside. And guess what? That's British too. You guys love your carbs. And you know what? I respect that because I do too. I'll be honest though, I haven't had one of these and I would like to. I would really, really like to have one of these. Here in Kent, I can't say that I see these, you know, at any sort of like fast food kind of places. So I could make my own, but it's never really the same, right? I should make my own anyway. Stay tuned. I'm gonna make my own. Not right now. Maybe tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Someday soon. Now, I am very lucky because one thing that I absolutely love to do is to try new food. And I don't want this video to be all about food. But let's be honest, the UK has some really weird food. So while we're here, I would just like to nominate one more thing, and it's this. I'm sorry, what? Just looking at it makes me want to cry. So this is a stargazy pie. It is a pastry-based fish pie, which, fine. Fish pie, sure. Obviously doesn't look like a fish pie, perhaps, because it has whole pilchards, which I didn't know what that is, but apparently it's basically like a slightly larger sardine, and the whole slightly larger sardines have to stick out of the pie and look at you. So, I will say, I love the UK, all right? Worked very hard to be here. And I love that the UK has such diverse and interesting and historic food. Like a lot of food that is still consumed today has like historic connotations. And you look at something like this and you think, that looks medieval. And it probably is, but you can still get it today. And as someone from Canada, where, not to shade Canada, we don't really have that kind of history. Do you know what I mean? Like historical, traditional, medieval foods that people are still consuming. Doesn't really happen. So I appreciate that that kind of stuff still happens in the UK. Will I ever try one of these? Honestly, probably, because I hate myself. I think you should try everything twice, as long as it doesn't kill you. And I'm not allergic to fish or pies or pastry, so there's really no reason why I shouldn't try one. But there's something about the whole heads just looking at you that makes me question all of my life choices. Something that you will only see in the UK are Brits throwing themselves down a very steep hill to catch a rolling cheese. This, of course, is the Cooper Hill cheese roll, and I love it. And you might think, oh, this is like a nice little festival. People from all over the world come.
I remember seeing a video about this. It's pretty cool that they do this.
Festival / competition. All over the world. Perhaps like me hearing about this, you think, ooh, that's really cute. That's really fun. How quaint, how silly. I want to partake. I want to go. I want to run down a hill chasing a bit of cheese. And then you see the footage. And you think, maybe not. This competition is rough. And people get hurt, which is not something we should laugh about. However, I wanted to include it in this particular video because recently a Canadian woman won her heat, won the race. And yeah, she was knocked unconscious for a little bit of it, but she won. Go Canada. Now, while I was researching about the cheese rolling thing, which has been on my radar for a while because I love cheese. And you guys, when you find out that I like cheese, everybody sends me a link to the cheese rolling festival. However, you guys didn't tell me that the UK has the, what I would say, most wild collection of festivals ever. Anywhere. Ever. In the history of mankind. And
I could have swore somebody, if I'm not mistaken, someone in the comments a few weeks ago was telling me something about a festival. But I looked at it, I just kind of forgot. I wanted to go back to the comment. If you out there, let me know about that again. It was some festival you were saying was going on.
And I do think this needs to be a video like on its own.
It may have been an art festival.
But I've written down just a taster list, okay, taster menu of some of the most ridiculous festivals I have ever heard of. So of course we have cheese rolling. How about the Dorset Knob Festival? It's basically a hard biscuit that people hurl competitively. We also have the Straw Bear Festival. So this man is led through the streets in Cambridgeshire, and honestly, looks like a horror movie. Then of course you have Bonfire Night. Now I have celebrated Bonfire Night for many years here in the UK. It is wild when you think about it.
Listen, if she thinks that this looks like a horror movie, then I don't know if she would be too comfortable with a lot of the indigenous tribes out here. You know, you head over to them tribes. A lot of tribes in Africa go to their festivals and parades. You're gonna see some stuff that may just scare you.
Looks like a horror movie. Then of course you have Bonfire Night. Now I have celebrated Bonfire Night for many years here in the UK. It is wild when you think about it. I guess that's one of the things, being here for 7 years, Bonfire Night has become a yearly tradition, right? But when I actually sit down and I think about it, that's pretty weird, isn't it? However, you guys didn't tell me that the village of Ottery St. Mary in East Devon goes a little bit above and beyond everybody else, right? So we're talking about fire. We're talking about fire in the streets. We're talking about literal blazing barrels of tar. I love this country. And really with that, we are only scratching the surface. So I'm gonna do a video about festivals shortly. If you guys have a festival that you want to include, please leave a comment down below. I guess I just never really thought about this before, but once I started Googling, I literally couldn't stop. And this is kind of lame, but while I was doing this, I was like, okay, so comparatively, what do we have in Canada? And I'm trying to think of like festivals that I have experienced, that I've been to. Canada is obviously a giant country. So I'm from Ontario. I'm thinking Ontario festivals. Okay, like what kind of festivals? And do you know what festival came to mind? We have a peach festival where you go and eat peaches. And they have peach
That does not sound bad.
ice cream and peach pies and peach cobblers. And it is a festival about peaches. Which, when you say it like that, kind of sounds kind of lame. Peaches are awesome though. But it's hard to compare peaches with burning barrels of tar. Another thing you will see in the UK that is so sweet and funny, and I think very British, has to do with offering things to British people. And quite simply, British people cannot accept something unless you offer it to them a couple of times. Now, I saw this a lot, especially when I was working in an office. So maybe someone comes around with like a tin of biscuits and they're like, would you like a biscuit? And the British person has to say, oh, no, I shouldn't. And they're like, oh, come on, have a biscuit. And they're like, oh, I don't know. And they're like, oh, you'll love it, have a biscuit. And they go, all right then. Even though both parties know that that person is going to take a biscuit, they just have to do this little dance first. And thinking about this, I don't know if I've ever seen a British person accept something on the first offer.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm an alumni from Avenues in Concord. I've never been.
Everybody's got their tradition. I ain't even mad at it. I ain't mad.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Does it exist? I don't know. Have you seen it? If we're talking about things that you can only see in the UK, we have to talk about absolutely unhinged roundabouts. And I think you know which one that I'm talking about in particular. Whenever British people hear that I have a UK driver's license, they always say, when are you gonna do the Magic Roundabout? To which I say, I would rather die. So Swindon thought, you know what? How can we put ourselves on the map? Literally. And somebody said, you know what? Let's make the most frightening, intense, unnecessarily complicated roundabout system that we've ever done, ever, anywhere else. Let's do it. And so they did. And it's still there. So no, I haven't been to Swindon. Anyone here from Swindon? Hello. I'm probably not pronouncing that properly, and I'm deeply sorry. No, I have not done the Magic Roundabout. No, I don't like roundabouts. I respect the benefit and the positives of having roundabouts instead of intersections. They do not come naturally to me. They make me clammy and sweaty, but realistically, most things do. Something that you will only see in the UK is afternoon tea and crumpets. But wait. There's more. So I think every sort of foreigner or expat's list about the UK includes afternoon tea, crumpets, you know, clotted cream and jam and which goes first and all that sort of stuff is very, very British, but it's a bit obvious, right? We all know about afternoon tea. However, I was out exploring the other day and I walked by a hair salon. Yeah, a hair salon. And they were advertising a haircut and afternoon tea and crumpets. Yes, at a hair salon. I've never seen such a thing before, and I don't know if I'll ever see it again. So if you ever fancy, you know, need a haircut, I was sort of holding off waiting to get one, but I sort of need a haircut. You can go and have afternoon tea and crumpets and get your hair cut. Which is just so unbelievably British, it's hilarious. Do you have the crumpets before you get your haircut? During the haircut? After the haircut? What do you do with like bits of hair flying in the air? Do you just ignore it? I don't know what happens. I just saw it and I thought it was hilarious. Another thing that I love about the UK, and I feel like you can only see it here, has to do with street names. So, how about Silly Lane in Lancashire, Dick Place in Edinburgh, Crotch Crescent, Oxfordshire. Does holding my laptop like this bother you? How about this? Butthole Lane, Leicestershire, Titty Ho in Northamptonshire, Dumb Woman's Lane in East Sussex. Now, I had to Google this one a second time because I thought, surely not, but surely yes, it does exist. How about Tom Tit Lane, another one from Essex, and of course Kent, where I'm from.
Okay, UK, y'all got me surprised now. This is wild. These streets or roads are wild.
have
Like,
No Name Street. Wonderful. I can't say that I've ever come across really funny street names in Canada. My understanding is that perhaps the English language and words meant things differently. Do you know what I mean? Back when some of these roads were named, perhaps. But when you think of Dumb Woman's Lane, I don't really know how that one makes sense. In Canada, our street names are so recent in terms of, you know, the grand history of mankind that the English language is what it is when those streets were named, so we don't really have a lot of cool ones. But we have a million King Street and Queen Street. So many of them. And Main Street. Because, say what you will about Canadians, we're really creative. One thing that was really surprising to me as a Canadian here in the UK, living my life, exploring, trying new things, looking for new experiences. Something that was never on my radar as a Canadian, but suddenly is very much a thing here in the UK, are train spotters. Such a large portion of British people seem to be obsessed with trains. I find it absolutely fascinating, so I made a whole video about it. I had so much fun making it. Definitely check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!
I'm actually interested in that train obsession video. That's definitely going to be coming soon. One thing I do like, though, is just they have their own style.
Only God can forgive you now.
They have their own style in the UK, you know, and, you know, if everywhere was the same, it would definitely be very boring. Which at the end caught me off guard with those street names. Yeah, that was a surprise. I wouldn't know what to say. I guess I'd be taking pictures, maybe laughing. That was wild. But yeah, the UK, they have their own style. I'm sure a lot of things we do in America is very strange. When from the outside looking in, for sure. But yeah, what surprised me the most, honestly, the needing a license for TV. I mean, out here we just turn that on whenever we want. But so many people be on the internet now that it's not even a lot of people don't watch TV too much out here in America. Not like that. I mean, of course, there's still people that's always gonna watch TV, but when I tell y'all YouTube and so much other things don't took over, yeah, so much of these apps. But with that being said, original link will be in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll be back with more soon. And if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell for more. With that being said, much love, yeah.